All right. Welcome back, folks. Another Yankees Unloaded. I believe this is episode 7 with Gary and I. We did release a quick hitter. We will be doing that more often. If Gary can't do a show, I'll do it. If I can't do it, Gary will do it. So you'll never stop seeing us. With that said, the Yankees are 3-0. So what that means, Gary, is that since you decided to start this show, and you asked me to do it, and since we started actually doing the show, the Yankees have not lost a regular season game of baseball. Now, I understand there's only 3 games that have been played, but you've been playing those 3 games against arguably one of the best teams in all of baseball, the Houston Astros. So to win 3 in a row, to come back from all 3 of those being down early on, this has been like the recipe. Everyone was saying it on Twitter, like, oh, Yankees got them right where they want them. To come back from 3, deficits, back-to-back games on the road without your ace. And I mean, if we want to stretch it, we could go without the Martian, without DJ LeMahieu, we could do that, but we're not going to, just without our ace, right? To do that has been so impressive. The bullpen has not allowed 1 run in the first 3 games of the season. And oh, by the way, the last time the Yankees went 3-0 in a season was 2003, in which they went to the World Series. So yeah, I think there's a lot of reason to feel good about this, but I'm excited to break this down with you because, I mean, you and I both have a lot of thoughts, and let it rip, man.
Okay, first of all, I am impressed, of course, to get this out the way. I'm impressed with the way Stroman threw today. I'm impressed with the bullpen, but I think the whole takeaway for the Yankees is that that's 3 games in a row. So, yeah, we're 3-0, but that's 3 games in a row that we lose last year. Not just last year, but even in our good years.
Yeah.
For the most part, the Yankees were, in a way, front runners. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean it in a way, I guess it's kind of negative, is that if we were losing a game, we probably weren't going to get off the mat. If we get punched in the mouth, we're probably going to stay down. That was what I felt like watching the Yankees the past few years. Last year, if the Yankees were losing at any point in the game, it felt like the bullpen was out of position to control the game. That was what I took away from the way the Yankees have been setting their team up to play. This year, the Yankees can be losing. It could be 3-0. It could be 2-1. It didn't matter the situation. Every single time the Yankees come up to hit, it feels like we're not hoping for the top of the order to come up. It doesn't matter who's coming up. And I used to do this all the time watching the Yankees. I used to say, oh, when was the last time Aaron Judge hit? And then it hit me. Oh, he was the second out of this last inning. Oh, well, we're not scoring for a little bit. That's what I used to watch. And
I'm
coming into this year, look at these dudes. Look at the bottom of our order. Anthony Volpe, Austin Wells, Oswaldo Cabrera. All these dudes are getting hits, scoring runs. And then obviously Grisham getting picked off. But that's neither here nor there.
And Grisham had some good at-bats, and he was cheated in a few of them. So I got to give that guy credit. But,
yeah,
hey, Austin Wells, we got to give him props on this show because no one else is going to talk about him with the way Cabrera is playing, and we'll give Cabrera his due. But Austin Wells is your starting catcher for the New York Yankees, simply put. And what has actually been so impressive for me is what he's done behind the plate. There have been some wild pitches, including Rodon's pitch that I brought up in that video I did. Rodon threw a pitch like over the guy's head. And normally that's going to the backstop. And then I believe there was a runner on second or third. Might have even been in the jam, one of the jams that Rodon got out of.
Yep.
And Wells stopped it.
And this was our question mark, by the way. It wasn't about if Wells, because you said Wells is going to hit, which I'm not sure if Wells is going to hit. That's just obviously up in the air. I'm confident. I'm sure he can do it. But it was a matter of whether or not he was going to stay at the position. That was always the thing. We always knew Trevino was going to be fantastic behind the plate, but we never felt like his bat had staying power with this organization. Wells can catch. If Wells can catch, what are we doing? He looks good.
I like Trevino as the backup catcher. Now he becomes an asset. See, that's the great thing. See, it goes back to the backup catcher who they actually got rid of because he couldn't hit, the Astros.
Maldonado.
Maldonado.
Mm-hmm.
When he's your starter, he's a liability. When he's your backup, now you have a weapon. That's a really good backup to have, you know? And I think that's really kind of the name of the game right now with the Yankees, is that you're seeing all these guys hitting. And you're like, well, what the hell is going to happen? I know I texted you this, but like, think about it. What the hell is going to happen when the Martian comes back, you know? And let's just say I'm wrong about DJ LeMahieu and he's out for vengeance and he's going to hit 400 this year. I'm not saying he's actually going to hit for it, but you know what I mean? Like, what if I'm wrong about him? See, it's a good position to be in when you have too many guys. There's no such thing as too many guys being productive. And John Birdie, who you and I got on here, we did an emergency podcast about. I haven't even seen him through the first 3 games because Oswaldo Cabrera, and I think it might have been, I think it was a little bit of an oversight, at least in my mind, on my part. I'm not going to say to you, but for me, I brought up his spring training average. Remember when we talked about that? And I said it was like 220.
Right.
Splits matter. And he got off to a horrible start. I didn't give him enough credit for what he was doing at the end of spring training, to be fair. And then you hear all this stuff today in the broadcast. They kept bringing it up. Oswaldo Cabrera, the Juan Soto effect that you brought up even before we had this show.
I sure did, yeah.
And Oswaldo Cabrera was trying to hit uppercut swings, trying to hit some home runs last year. You know, he basically told these people that, snowball effect and everything.
Yep.
And it was brought up on the broadcast that he basically would watch Juan Soto, BP, hitting line drives and was like, that's what I'm going to do.
And
like
he added the toe tap.
He added the toe tap.
And if you watched him play last year, never in a million years would this guy have added a toe tap. No. He was swinging for the fences. He was trying to put the ball in the upper deck, in the bleachers in right field. And I get it. All of us want to do that. I mean, you really think about being a Yankee and what that would feel like, just launching a ball at Yankee Stadium. It's a good feeling. But when it comes down to this organization and what we're actually trying to do, we're trying to win a World Series. And Oswaldo Cabrera hitting home runs is not how we're getting there. Now, of course, hitting home runs is awesome.
Yeah.
But you know what? You don't have to try to hit home runs to hit a home run. Matter of fact, I've asked my dad this plenty of times, and he told me most of the time I hit a home run, I didn't mean to. It was a mistake. I got under the ball, and that just was a side effect to a good approach. But when my dad's actually right, he's hitting line drives, and he's more consistent. That's the reason his average was what it was. So now that we're looking at Oswaldo, seeing Juan Soto and his entire approach, even before the season starts, he's coming into the year with a completely different mentality. Him and Volpe, so far, and I know it's early, at the very least, their mentality is exactly where it has to be.
Absolutely. Adding on to Cabrera, his stats so far through 3 games. I understand it's just through 3, but we still got to make content. Like, I love when people are like, oh, it's just 3 games. What do you want me to do? Just say, yeah, it doesn't matter. Because, it's like, it does matter,
Well, I'm not waiting until game 140 so we can start talking about Austin Wells. I tell you that.
Hell no. So I'm with
That's
you.
Not happening.
538 average, 538 on base percentage, 1.077 slugging percentage, 7 of 13, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. That is Oswaldo Cabrera since the season started and the day after the Yankees traded for John Birdie. Now, is it fair to say, potentially, that John Birdie's trade lit a fire under Oswaldo's ass? Because I somewhat believe that was done purposely for that, but also to add depth.
Yeah, well, you remember I said, doesn't it? I mean, shouldn't you say, oh damn, like I didn't realize that we weren't just buying into the young players? Because in a way, it kind of tells you if they don't go make a trade, that we're just kind of rolling with what we got. Well, what happens if they go make a trade? Well, it kind of it says they're turning around saying, well, what are you guys doing to earn a spot? Tell me that. And if you haven't earned yourself an opportunity, well, then we're going to get you out of there. We're going to put someone who did. And last year, Birdie was really good. Hit for a good average. He ran the bases well. Maybe didn't steal as many bases as he had in the past. But in general, he's proven himself. Okay. A lot of those young guys haven't done a thing. Oswaldo Cabrera was good for about 3.5 weeks, and that's been about it. But guess what? He showed up this year and said, my approach is different. I'm a different player. And if he's going to continue playing, Birdie shouldn't see the field until we see otherwise.
So interesting you should bring that up. I said something on Twitter and someone responded and was like, hey, just a reminder, Birdie and Oswaldo can play in the outfield. So that does give you some flexibility here, but I'm not trying to I know Verdugo went 0 for 4 today. I didn't think Verdugo's, approach at the plate was bad. I didn't think he had bad at bats. I think just sometimes it's baseball. You can have the best 4 contacts of the day. You can have the highest exit velocity, all of that, but they could all be caught. And then you could have a guy who goes 4 for 4 who just hits broken bat bloopers in the outfield. I mean, that's just the way baseball is.
Yeah, you don't want to have a situation where you've got role players around the field and say, oh, you went 0 for 4 and then start hot potatoing guys. Because guess what? Aaron Judge went 0 for 5 yesterday. We going to pull him? No.
Exactly.
So you got to give people an opportunity to build roles in this organization. And I think they're going to do that. So obviously I won't panic about it until we see otherwise.
No.
But I agree. They can take some of those spots. Maybe you move someone like Judge to center field, take him out of DH, and you can put one of the Oswaldo Cabrera out into the outfield. You can do that.
Well, I think today kind of goes to show you, actions speak louder than words. And what Boone told us today is that any 4-game series, he's not about to have Stanton playing all 4 games. He's going to give him
at least he's being honest. At last. Yeah. I mean, what else can we ask for?
Yeah, I mean, I like it because I like the idea of, giving Grisham that opportunity. I thought he, definitely deserved the opportunity. He showed some surprising power and, I thought he had some really good at-bats in spring training. And then I thought today, he worked counts. He got screwed on. I mean, I told you off air, the first, I think it was the second inning. I wanted to, put my fist to the TV. I mean, like the umpire today was bad, man. Like there have been some bad home plate umpires today. That guy was not giving Stroman the same calls that Brown was getting on the other side. And I noticed that we
still worked 5 walks. So let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
We didn't get the benefit of the doubt at all today. I watched the game.
Yeah, exactly. And they still made it happen,
They did.
And so, we'll obviously we'll talk about Soto. We'll talk about all those guys, but let's stick here with Stroman a little bit. Is Stroman your ace right now until Cole comes back?
I'm going to say...
Why do you have 101 pitch count? It almost seems like Boone gave him... He trusted him more. Let's just call it like it is. He trusts him more to get through it than the other guys.
Yeah, and so this is what I like about it. So this is the whole thing. As of now, Stroman's the one guy I can trust to at least give us an attempt to go deeper into games. Now, what I like about it, and if you're looking at the box score, you look at Stroman, who went 6 innings today. He was really good. Okay. And they missed a couple calls on him. But that said, when you
did not give up a run
innings,
earned.
Right. No one did. So here's the reward for going 6 innings. It allows you to just throw 2 guys the old school way. Little setup guy. Hamilton goes multiple innings. He's been completely dominant. I'm sure Jake's going to bring that up. And Clay Holmes. They looked much better. Maybe not Ian Hamilton. He's been fantastic. But Clay Holmes, he looked better. So it allows you to only throw 2 guys out of your bullpen. And then come tomorrow when we play, you don't have to bring out guys who are tired, guys that you just used. That's the benefit. So to answer your question, do I think Marcus Stroman's the ace of the Yankees right now? I would probably say yes and no. Rodon is the guy, in my opinion, that's got to step into those shoes. I think Nestor Cortez came out pretty flat, but he stayed in the game, so I'll give him credit. But Marcus Stroman, I can't say a guy who consistently gives 140 innings is the ace of an organization right now. I don't really see that. I think the ceiling is that Rodon has it in him to be the ace, so I'm going to roll with him.
I like that. There's just something when Stroman was on the hill, I felt comfortable. This was like the really comfortable game. And then Clay Holmes came in and my comfort level definitely dipped. But, immediately it was I was relieved a little bit because while I know Clay Holmes can kind of change everything going on, in an instant. And I know I'm not the only one when he hit that batter who wasn't thinking like, oh, but here we go. Here we go. But with that said, I thought when Clay Holmes came out and, you saw the movement of that demon sinker, I was like, oh, okay, we're good. Like,
right. You remember what I
said?
Remember what I said? You can see it. The first batter, you go, oh, it's going to be that today. Okay, well, they're not doing anything. I knew when the Astros came up to hit in the 9th inning, the game was over.
It felt over. But when he hits that batter, you have to at least wonder. And I think it's fair because Holmes has had those meltdowns, but I think it was really good save opportunity for him. I'm glad Boone put him back out there because look, opening night was great and the Soto play was great, but at the same time, Clay Holmes probably wasn't feeling as great as everyone else. So to get him some, confidence, which is a huge key, during an 162 game season was huge. But yeah, let's talk about him. Ian Hamilton, 4 years of control. I'm just going to keep bringing that up, man. I feel so good. I know arbitration, all that. They're not letting him go. This is somebody who's going to be a mainstay in the bullpen and will probably at some point fight hard enough to maybe be a closer. Because
remember when we said, do you remember, Jake, when we had the conversation? This is pod 1 or 2. Yeah. We said teams don't usually trade assets away unless they have an idea of what they're replacing them with.
Yes.
Any company will tell you that. If any company or any boss has ever brought you in his office and they fired you, it's because they knew who was taking your spot before they ever fired you. Ian Hamilton was that guy. Maybe he's not going to be Michael King, and I'm sure he won't be. Michael King was fantastic for this team.
Michael King, before he got stretched to being a starter, I think is fair.
Oh, absolutely. But in my opinion, at this point, Ian Hamilton's our go-to. He's our go-to right now. He's been completely dominant. And I get it. We're only 3 games in, but we got a pod to run. And so far, he's been dominant. And he was good last year.
Yeah, I love the guy. When I see 71 on the hill, I'm like, there we go. And look,
our numbers are so bad.
Well, I don't hate 71, but what I'll say, he makes it look good because it's him. But dude, the movement he gets on some of those pitches, you kind of like feel for the Astros in that moment. You're like 2 innings, nothing. You're not getting a hit. I'm not walking you. You're not getting a run. You're not getting anything. I'm striking 2 of you out. He's so good. He really is. He was really good last year, but the thing that, the thing about last year is that while he was really good last year, a lot of people stopped watching the Yankees. So you don't get to see how great he was because the team, we kind of had a feeling. The season's over, and it's like a lot of people just stopped watching. I watched the games, as painful as some of them were, because, I was looking at more so like the future. Okay, like let's see, I'm used to it. You see the Ram stuff back there. I used to watch
that's not very fun
football team.
That's not very fun to watch. When you're sitting there watching, you're out of it. Know the team at max is going to win 85 games. You're watching for the future. That's not very fun. It's for the grinders like Jake.
Well, you're also a grinder, to be fair.
I am.
But, I think it's cool because people are actually going to be able to see how good Hamilton is. And it also is cool because while it's certainly possible, Gary, that we've talked about it, you've mentioned it before, Devin Williams, they could go out and get a power reliever. Definitely. It's certainly possible, but Hamilton makes it less likely they have to. And that's the beauty of it. This bullpen looks like a Matt Blake masterclass through the first 3 games. And again, I can't stress enough, the first 3 games against the Houston Astros, like that holds weight for me. This isn't going up against like the Kansas City Royals. This isn't going up against whatever the hell the St. Louis Cardinals are doing. I can't even believe the pitching they put out there. But this is against the Houston Astros. For real. And I am so impressed with the fact that they have responded. Going back to what you're saying, even the better Yankee teams don't respond as well as this team.
Oh no,
And
those better Yankee teams, they're winning 8-0. It's 8-0 in the third inning. And you're sitting there going, wow, this is so much fun. Go Yanks. And then the next day, you flip on the game.
It's
You're so excited to watch
the other team.
Yeah, you're so excited to watch the Yankees. You got it on early. And then you flip it on and they're getting no hit in the eighth. That was last year's Yankees team. Drop 10 runs, drop 12 runs, and then get no hit. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it wasn't like Gleyber Torres hit an oppo bomb at Yankee Stadium and then Aaron Judge and then Rizzo, they went back to back to back. If it didn't go like that, we weren't scoring. There was no situation where Gleyber Torres is starting the season hitting 091, which is exactly what I'm looking at right now. His ops is 377. It's 3 games into the year, so don't read into these numbers too much. Yeah, but those numbers, Aaron Judge hitting 167, Gleyber Torres hitting 091, Verdugo's hitting 182. And meanwhile, you look at the bottom of the lineup and there's damage. You're not just waiting for the 2, 3, 4 hitters to come up to the plate. We're an organization who can have 2 guys get out. You don't have to say, God, we're striking out too much, because you know what? The next guy will walk, will spray a single from 0-2, spray a single the other way, and there'll be like a pass ball and we'll hit a 2-run single. It's just like what we do now. So I'm happy to see that this offense is a lineup of grinders. We're a lineup that doesn't always have to do it sexy, because you know what? When it is sexy and Aaron Judge is hitting 298, we're going to be lighting teams up. We just are. And I think the adjustment for this team, when you asked me who the ace was, that's where I think the Yankees make a move. And you remember the name I said?
Bieber.
Justin
Bieber. No.
Justin Bieber. We're like, speaking of P. Diddy, Justin Bieber.
Oh
no.
My God.
But let's be serious. The Yankees are in a situation where they're fighting for innings. And today, Marcus Stroman gave them 6 innings. Aaron Boone, to his credit, put faith in him, and he got that 6th inning, and it allowed us to bridge from Hamilton to Holmes. It ended the game right there. As soon as he got through that 6th inning, game over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and I'm sure I have to give Boone there credit. Like, it's over. I 100% agree with you. This is one of those wins where, yes, okay, you have a home run from Volpe, you get a home run from Soto, you get a home run from Cabrera, but you cannot. I mean, you really cannot give enough credit to Boone in this one, because how many times have we seen Boone in the past where you have a guy that is just clearly pitching better than, say, the numbers would indicate? Right? Because he had 0 earned runs. And how many times in the past have you seen him like yank Cole because of an error or something? It's like, I'm just so glad he didn't look at the 2-0 lead. He didn't even care about that. He just let this thing play out. And Stroman, the reality of it is that Stroman probably could have gone 5 innings and I would have been okay. The fact that he sent him out there for a 6th, I'm like happy. I was like really happy. Like that was noticeable to me because he doesn't always do that. And with Hamilton, letting him go 2 innings, he could have just been like, nope, we're going to have him go 1. We don't want to overuse him. There's still other guys in the pen that need. No. We want to win this game. We know we can win this game. 2 innings out of Ian Hamilton, made it look easy. Bring in your closer. Love it. I absolutely love it. Now let's talk about Juan Soto. His impact on this team is literally second to none. He is the best player on this team right now. Now, Judge at some point is going to heat up, and then he's going to look like the best player, probably. But Juan Soto, I'll say this. I know Juan Soto wants to test free agency for the money. I don't think he wants to leave New York at all. I think this is where he wants to be. And I know Scott Boras is going to be a pain in the ass, but the way he's playing right now, if he keeps this up, do not be surprised if the Yankees just say, you know what, screw it. And they tap out to whatever the demands are. And we see, because think about how big that would be. You want to talk about, I can see you grinning right now. You want to talk about the Steinbrenners? You want to talk about Hal? You want to talk about how much he loves money? Think about how much money you're going to make and how more likely you are going to sell out tickets and you're going to get people going crazy about this team. If, let's just say, right around June, July, you get an extension, Juan Soto signs 13-year deal with the Yankees. Dude, I mean, the Bronx is going to be absolutely insane.
It would be nice. But I mean, if you really, just look at the tea leaves here. Oswaldo Cabrera, when he was talking about his approach to baseball, he actually described, and we just talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
The fact that he brought the toe tap and he was like, wow, like Juan Soto's hitting line drives. What am I doing? Like if he's hitting line drives as a power hitter, maybe that's something I need to be doing. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then he described him as the Dominican leader essentially on this team. Okay. So this is something that I think a lot of people knew, being honest, is that the captain of this team is Aaron Judge, but the leader culturally is Juan Soto. Okay. That doesn't mean it's a passing of the torch. It's none of that. Okay.
No.
This is a two-headed attack, and we're on the same team here. So the reason I would be excited if I were the Yankees is that he is changing the entire culture of this team. He's changing the way every player plays by signing one player. Okay. We signed a couple complimentary bats in Verdugo. We're putting the keys in Austin Wells' hands. Trent Grisham was a throw-in into this move. And guys are showing up, and Grisham's talking about his approach coming into the season. I want to be patient. I don't want to be too patient, right? Everyone's trying to perfect their approach. How many conversations did we have about approach the past 4 years? Hardly any. We never talked about Gary Sanchez and his approach. We never talked about Gleyber Torres and his approach. We were asking, why aren't these guys hitting home runs the way they used to? We were talking about the 37 home run season. You remember that? I do. And I know,
Yep.
Jake, I know you do.
Of course.
So if I'm looking at these teams, we're not hunting stats. We're hunting wins. We're hunting culture. And those are the players that you invest 12 and 13-year contracts into, guys who care about the process and they care about the culture. Because when you invest a 12 to 13-year deal at $500 million, ladies and gentlemen, that's what it's going to be, in the 500s. Okay. It's a ridiculous amount of money. Yeah. But you're investing that chunk of change into a 25-year-old asset at Yankee Stadium, who's a power contact lefty bat. And now Oswaldo Cabrera is a different player. Now Anthony Volpe is a different player. Now these guys feel like they have momentum, and it doesn't feel like we're running it back the way we used to. So yes, would it be nice if we can get Juan Soto and Scott Boras to agree to some deal midseason? I think it would be amazing. But at the same time, knowing Scott Boras and what just happened to Scott Boras, this past offseason?
He got played.
He got played. And I think that Scott Boras is in his ways, and he's going to want to show everybody my way still works, and his way is waiting to the last second. I would expect Juan Soto to sign a deal probably around December of this year. And of course, is it what we want to hear? No, it's not. Do we want to hear the Giants, the Red Sox, the Mets? No, we don't. But based on the way his agent has run his business, I have no other reason to believe it's going to go any other way.
I hear you, but I'm just saying I'd love to see Hal, and I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen. I wouldn't be surprised if they just pushed all their chips and they're like, you know what, we just can't even. We can't go about our business knowing that there's any chance that he walks, because the Yankees overnight, like, this isn't letting Robinson Cano walk in free agency. Like, if Juan Soto left the Yankees after this season, and let's say they get to the ALCS and they win the ALCS and they lose the World Series or something, or even if they win or lose, does not matter. They get really far. And then Juan Soto walks, like, people wouldn't be mad at Juan Soto. They'd be mad at the Yankees. They'd be mad at not getting this thing done. And they'd be like, how did you not get this thing done? Because you have all the money in the world.
No, this would be like the Bulls losing Scottie Pippen in the 90s.
I mean, I was born in 95, but
it's all right. Most people didn't watch them play, but they just pretend to. So you can just pretend to understand the analogy the way they would. But I mean, I guess the overhanging
I get your point
here is,
though. Yeah.
My goodness, it's such a perfect marriage.
Oh,
look
yeah.
Look
he looks so happy, and I'm so happy just watching number 22. That will be in Monument Park. I'm saying it right now. He's not going anywhere. I literally do not have a fiber of my being that is concerned that he's going to walk.
I can't stand that he's younger. He's younger than you.
He's younger than everybody.
Yeah,
he's 25.
I don't like that.
But
I want to root for him, but what was I doing at 25?
I know. But I mean, just, all jokes aside, I just don't, he's not leaving. He's not. And John Heyman needs to stop talking about, he could end up in Queens. He's not. I'll tell you one, he is not going to the Mets. He is not going to the Mets. It's not happening. He's staying with the Yankees. Why would you leave Aaron Judge? Why would you leave Anthony Volpe? Watching him, develop. Why would you leave Oswaldo Cabrera at this point, since you've taken him under your wing? Why would you leave all these guys? Why would you leave Cole? Why would you leave the Yankees to go to the Mets?
I really shouldn't have to say this before Easter, but let's be realistic for our ladies and gentlemen. Just because something is physically possible doesn't mean it's even remotely probable and doesn't need to be said. Okay.
Exactly.
Technically speaking, Juan Soto could sign a contract to go play in Japan with the Giants. He's not. 2 years ago, Shohei Ohtani, everyone would have told you he's a Met. Steve Cohen is not going to be denied. He won't even allow it not to happen. You wouldn't find a single podcaster who would have told you otherwise. Not one. Okay. Maybe a few of them would have said, I can't see him not going out west and staying out west. But you know what? John Heyman, and not just Heyman, a multitude of other writers said, we just expect him to go to the Mets. Okay. Now, this is not me hating the Mets. This is just, there's no reason to stir the pot when we have no information yet. There's nothing whatsoever from Juan Soto, not his father, not him, not his agent,
definitely not his father.
No one. Yes, nobody has given any inclination that the New York Mets are more of a threat to sign Juan Soto for the next decade than the Yankees. Nothing has shown us that. So if I could give anyone any advice, and you only take one thing from my blabbering mouth tonight, just take this. Juan Soto is going to re-sign with the Yankees. That's what's going to happen.
Done.
And until we see something, he's given us a quote. Scott Boras has given us a quote. Anything. Because we saw it with Garrett Cole with the Houston Astros. We saw him wearing a Boras Corporation's hat at his press conference after the Astros were eliminated from the postseason. Okay? That was a sign, we look like we're in trouble. Okay? That's when you publish those articles of, maybe he's going to be heading to another organization. Show me the evidence of when Juan Soto has ever done anything close to that. Juan Soto looks like a player who was essentially acquired in Little League. And I said this before to the
Instagram,
Yankees.
Man. It looks crazy. He's a Yankee.
Dude, he's more excited to be a Yankee than he's more excited than me. And I run a podcast. Me and Jake run a podcast. And we literally talk on camera about our favorite team. A team we would have watched anyways without a podcast. And this dude somehow is more happy than us to be a Yankee. He's younger than us. He's more spry than us. Dude, there's no reason to even worry at this point. Just enjoy it.
Exactly. I'm totally with you. God, they're so annoying. But speaking of which, Severino didn't pitch well today for the Mets.
Oh, I didn't even see what he did. What did he do?
Like 12 hits, 5
No,
runs.
he did not.
Yeah, no, he got obliterated. Which I feel bad because I like Sevy. But I mean, I think we touched on it a little bit. Like, will that come back to bite them? And I think you and I were just kind of like, look, this guy can't stay healthy. I mean, really, the Yankees did everything they could. They gave him every single opportunity to come back from injuries, and it just didn't work out. And it sucks because if Sevy didn't get hurt, right now he's the ace. Like, we're not worried like, oh, Cole's out. You still have Sevy. Sevy would be like, ace number 2. They'd have 2 power aces. Like, unfortunately, this is baseball. Chingman Wong went from 20 wins and looking like a franchise pitcher to hurting himself, rounding third, and never recovering. I mean, think about it. That's
a true story.
That's baseball.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it sucks, but look, Yankees are 3-0. And Gary, who would have thought, okay, going into this season, that the Yankees would be knocking on the door to sweep the Astros in 4 games on the road to start the season without Garrett Cole, DJ LeMahieu, The Martian, Peraza. I mean, this has been really impressive, and I think they're going to do it tomorrow. I know they got Clark Schmidt on the mound. JP France is on the mound for the Astros. Gary, I feel the vibes, and they're good right now. And I mean, the Yankees, they need to get off to a good start. They have a tough schedule. I mean, to start off this season with Houston on the road, I mean, these schedule makers did them no favors. They're going to be playing in your backyard in Arizona.
They are
in 3-game set right after this, no break.
Yeah.
So they're going right to Arizona, 3-game set. Then they get a day off on April 4th, Thursday. And then they finally have their home opener against Toronto. So Houston, Arizona, Toronto. Like, that's not easy to start with those 3 teams.
I'm not too worried about Toronto, to be quite honest with you. I'm really not.
I mean, I'm not super worried about Toronto, but going from Houston on the road to Arizona, like, that's brutal. You are going to face Zach Gallen. He's slated to face Cortez in the 2nd game of that series.
Okay. Well, I mean, let's be real. Nestor Cortez in Arizona. Nestor Cortez, he likes to pitch inside. The ball's usually put in the air, and the ball flies in Arizona. So Nestor Cortez, he's got his work cut out for him. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I really did like the Marcus Stroman signing, because he tends to keep the ball on the ground. I know John Smoltz was talking about it a lot today. He was talking about the fact that his front foot lands open and allows him to get that sinking action. Well, whatever he's doing, that's going to work. It's going to play at any park. It would play in Colorado. So the Yankees, this is the good news here. The good news is that they're going to Arizona with hot bats. And somehow all the hot bats, none of the hot bats happen to be Aaron Judge yet. So we're ready to play. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm excited. Yankees, they'll be facing JP France tomorrow. What do you know about him? I'm not really familiar with him.
Here's what I know. The Yankees have absolutely no experience against him. I mean, just looking at the spray chart that we're looking at, we don't have a single player outside of Alex Verdugo with more than 5 at-bats against the guy.
I think they only faced him. He went 3 1/3 last year against the Yankees. So there's just not really a lot on him.
No.
There wasn't a lot on Stroman coming into this game. And I think, I actually said that would kind of benefit the Yankees, because you have to think about it. Stroman, pitched in Chicago, right? He hadn't really faced most of those guys like Altuve and Bregman since 2017. So
it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you have guys like Alvarez who had never faced him. So it worked out well. I think the Yankees are going to win tomorrow. They have a 2-10 start, Schmidt versus France. I think we're going to get the Clark Schmidt special, 5 innings, probably 3 earned runs, give up 2 homers, maybe. But I think it's going to be enough, because I think the Yankees are going to win. I called it in this game 5-3.
You did.
So I'm going to try to do it again. I'm going to say 8-5 Yankees. I think they get the season high most runs of the year. And where do I want to go with this? I think Torres is going to hit a home run tomorrow.
Torres. Okay. I'm saying Aaron Judge is going deep tomorrow. And let me say this. Aaron Judge is not only going deep once, he's going deep twice. But here's the reason I say that. JP France, for those of you who haven't seen him pitch, last year, he pitched decent, nothing major. But here's what stands out. He walks about, okay, so his K to ratio is basically 2-1. He walked about 50 guys last year, okay? Struck out at about 100. He's going to give up base runners. And the New York Yankees left the yard how many times today? 4? 3 times. When you're giving up walks, which the Yankees have proven they'll take a walk this year, they'll do it.
Yeah.
JP France is going to be putting guys like Juan Soto on base. He's going to be putting guys, Gleyber Torres, Juan Soto, Rizzo. Those guys are going to be walking tomorrow. And when that's happening, Aaron Judge is about to do some damage. I'm telling you. That's the reason why we put Juan Soto in the 2 spot. And I didn't like that necessarily. I didn't love the fact that Juan Soto was hitting 2. But now that we're watching that Juan Soto can play, I mean, we always knew he could, but he is executing, hitting second exactly the way we'd want him to. Well, it makes pitching around Aaron Judge just about impossible. And that's going to be a problem for JP tomorrow. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I don't even know how you face Juan Soto. Just watching him the way he doesn't really, if it's not a strike, he's not swinging at it. He's not doing you any favors. I mean, he knows the strike zone. And if the umpire screws him, he's going to give him an earful because he's like, no, I know more than you do. You know, and I think we've seen that a few times. I like that he's willing to speak up for sure during the at-bat. I know some, old heads don't like that. It's disrespectful, whatever. I think you got to call it like it is. And you also have to be like, hey, where was that? Was that too high? Was that too, like, what am I dealing with? Because I noticed
Anthony Volpe was talking. Did you see that?
Yeah, I think
Anthony Volpe was talking to him.
He's getting to these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Wells? Well, they called him. So they called him out. I think Wells struck out today, right? I thought Wells struck out.
Well, I can tell you.
Wells struck out today. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, Wells struck out on one of those, struck out looking, didn't really hit the corner. Of course, the announcers like to overplay. Ooh, scratches the corner.
Pitcher's pitch. That's a ball.
Yep. And then the next at bat, Wells forced it from 0-2 down to force a walk, and that was the pitch that they called the ball. And
that's why I was telling you. That's why I said that Juan Soto, everyone says, well, why didn't he swing at that pitch? It cost him the at-bat. I said, yeah, but it won't cost him the next at-bat. That's why he does it.
Because they're not consistently calling it. They're not consistent. That's the problem with umpires. They're not consistent.
Right.
We have not seen consistent umpires in the first 3 games at all. And by the way, just because the Yankees won doesn't mean that we can't be annoyed with the way the game is being called behind the plate. I don't think it's good enough. And this is why people are bringing up robo-umps, because you see that Grisham at bat is the epitome of why umpires are the bane of our existence. Because, I mean, he's sitting there, it's 3-1, ball low, like you see the box here, it's like down here.
Yeah, I actually have a theory about that. So everyone keeps saying, Gary, they ask me, I swear to you, Jake, people ask me this literally every year. My DMs are full of this question. Do you think umpiring is getting worse? Gary, I swear the umpiring is getting worse. I actually don't. You know what I
don't think it's getting worse. I think it was always bad.
I think it's always been terrible, but this is what I think. I think that the umpires themselves have gotten better, but with the velocity, the job's gotten so much harder. That's what I think. I think when guys are throwing 97 and it's moving a foot and a half, like, am I saying that the job's impossible and that they shouldn't do a better job? No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that we're asking human beings to do a job that maybe humans aren't cracked up to do it.
Yeah.
And possibly there's a better way to do it that we're already working on in the minor leagues. Just a thought.
Yeah. And I mean, then again, what's the argument for NFL officiating if guys only running 22 miles an hour, not 97?
Right. I mean, I guess the only argument for the NFL is that it's all judgment. Like the NFL, the entire game is about judgment.
I mean,
Baseball is not,
yeah.
according to them. It's supposed to be, here's the strike zone, and this guy gives an inch off the plate. Well, technically, if that guy gives 1 inch off the plate consistently, he's consistently buns at the job. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I know. I love that. Well, his strike zone is no. There's no his. He ain't that important. No one knows who he is. Well, everyone knew who Rob Drake was, the umpire in the second game.
They should draw. You know the box they give us on TV that shows the K zone. They should just get the likely K zone of that umpire. You're welcome, ESPN. You're welcome, Fox Sports. Why would they give me a perfect box of where the strike zone is going to be if you know this umpire consistently gives 6 inches off the plate outside? Well, you might as well just start drawing a new box, shouldn't you?
Yeah. My favorite are the people online who they grandstand umpires. And so they'll be like, well, the box isn't actually the strike zone. The box is a suggestion of where the strike zone is. And like, I know it's terrible. And there'll be like one where like a slider goes like way to the outside and they're like, well, you know, the box doesn't clearly tell that it crossed the plate. I'm like, then they show it on ESPN, Baseball Tonight on Sundays, right? And they show the box being 3D. So they see it from their perspective that the ball doesn't just like, this isn't just a square. This is a full-on 3D box. We're seeing the square. So it's not going to clip the box if it doesn't ever clip the plate. There's no such thing as, well, the box didn't show that it accurately. No, it didn't clip the plate.
No, because here's what they say. They say, well, the ball eventually crossed the plate.
Oh, good.
Well, guess what? At the front of the plate, if it's crossed the plate, if it is too high by the point of where it's exactly over the front of the plate, if it's too high and it drops all the way down to the ground, it's a ball. It doesn't matter where the ball's moving. It doesn't matter where it comes from.
Oh my God.
The only reason these things are factors in baseball is because when a pitcher throws a pitch outside and it's cutting towards the plate, the umpire has a perception that it's easier to frame and they're more easily fooled. That's the reason why framing matters in baseball. That's what we're doing. But in actuality, most of the time when you say that was a great frame job right there by the catcher, it was just a bad call.
Yeah.
That's all that was.
Absolutely.
You never say nice frame job by that catcher and the ball was just in the zone. When was the last time you saw that?
I know.
It's a ball.
There was one of those. I don't want to get on Wells. I thought he just been catching well, but there was one where he had him like here.
Yeah.
I think you know which one I'm talking about.
I do.
And he threw it inside. And so Wells caught it in the strike zone, but because the umpire wasn't doing his job, it wasn't actually being aware of where he had him set. Now Wells basically gets penalized because he didn't make it look nice.
Yeah, because then you know what they say? They say, well, Austin Wells, he missed his location, so they didn't reward. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I thought that the umpires were telling us that where they set up doesn't matter. I thought they were calling the game.
I mean, that's what I was told, but no.
So long story short, me and Jake, as you guys can see, we can talk about this stuff all day long. The reality is something has to be done about these guys behind the plate. I don't give a rat's dingaling what you do with the other guys. Let them umpire like it is the NFL with the base umpires. And if a guy swung, it's his judgment. All that is fine. That's all judgment. But when it comes to the strike zone, it should be objective. And the Yankees should have beat the Astros by more today. That's my opinion. So I'm happy about the win, thrilled about it.
And Stroman should have had 7 strikeouts, like I predicted.
He should have.
I was so pissed.
This is why you don't gamble on baseball.
Yeah, exactly. But I did. Anyway, I threw, it was like plus 800 for Stroman, 7 strikeouts. I was just like, we'll go for it. Literally putting money where the mouth is. But Yankees left 6 on base, a lot better than 11 yesterday. I know they scored 7 runs, but I think the thing that I liked about this game is that we started to see the offense come alive in a way that they normally do. Like, this is normally, the Yankees are home run hitting team. That's what everyone looks at them as. So 7-1, it's all fun, fine and dandy to be like, we blew out the Astros, but that was it 7th, 8th inning with the 4 runs given up by just their defense, like just mental errors, throwing errors. I mean, it was bad. I mean, the Astros just imploded and the Yankees took advantage. However, the Yankees still deserved to win the game, but tonight the Yankees took over, and it wasn't like the Astros, let up. In my opinion, I think the Yankees just took the game. That's how I felt. I feel like the Yankees just took the game over. And maybe, to be honest with you, like you were saying with the home plate umpire and everything, like 8 hits to 4. Yankees had 3 errors. Like, if anything, the Yankees, the defense was giving it back to the Astros. But the Astros, I don't know.
Yeah, and you remember when Aaron Boone was like, we're savages in the box, and you don't make those calls against our players. Okay, we had like about 2 savages on the team that year. So I don't know what we were talking about. This year, it seems like we have a genuine understanding of what the zone is. So I like the fact that we have the nerve to have Austin Wells turn around and be like, hey, that call was terrible. Figure it out. And then you got Anthony Volpe, who's in year 2, who's turning around going, that's high, you moron. And then walking back to the dugout. That's what I want to see. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to see some young dude and with all these clean shaven faces being nice. And the only guy who can be mean or say anything to the umpires like Giancarlo Stanton, Donaldson, and freaking the veterans. Yeah. No, if you're making a bad call, command the batter's box, turn around and tell the umpire within reason. Yeah, tell the umpire to figure it out, and I'll see you next at bat. And guess what? The Yankees have been doing that the first 3 games of the year, and long behold, at the end of the games, it's working out. We're starting to change the way the game's being called, so I like it.
I like it too. I know I'm not the only one that thought Boone was going to get tossed in this one. I definitely thought he was going to get tossed after that one call. I think it was in the 4th inning. Just, again, it's a matter of consistency. But we're on to the next game, and we have no reason to be upset because the Yankees are 3-0. We're 3-0. In the history of Yankees Unloaded, Yankees are 3-0. So we feel pretty good about that. We feel like we had something to do with that. I mean, at least I do. I feel like our inception just...
You know how I feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, hey,
That's all us.
But we'll see, man. Tomorrow... Earlier game, we'll see when we get out our recap show, however that works out. But I think they're going to sweep them. And what's almost as cool as the Yankees going 4-0 to start the season is that the Astros are going 0-4 to start the season. If that happens.
It's perfect. It really is perfect.
I mean, that's awesome because whether you realize it or not, I understand the Astros aren't in the AL East. This is the Yankees' rival. This is the Yankees' rival. This has been the hump that they have to get over, the monkey that has been on their back. This is the reason the Yankees haven't been in World Series. This team has been the only team in their way. And how poetic is it now that they've now won 3 straight against this team? We'll see what they do, but
we're about to put it on JP. I'll tell you right now, we're about to rake tomorrow. They just are.
Do you have a score prediction?
I do. Oh, yeah. 7-2. Clark Schmidt's going to be good tomorrow. And not because necessarily it's Clark Schmidt. It's the fact that imagine being Houston coming into this game. I guess technically as a bettors man, you probably say you fade the Yankees because sweeps hardly ever happen, especially with not division rivals, but just rivals in general. So a gambler's man would probably tell you to go with Houston tomorrow. But JP France, and what he's good at and what he's not good at, he's easily exposed based on the numbers by players who are confident in the plate and understand the strike zone, and we just do. So I just don't see it working out for them tomorrow. They have no momentum. I think the Yankees sweep tomorrow. I'm going to go 7-2.
All right, 7-2.
That's a beat down.
I got 8-5.
Okay.
But I'll take just a win. I mean, they could win 1-0 for all I care. So that's going to be that. I think it's safe to say Clay Holmes is not available tomorrow.
Absolutely, you're right. Because Hamilton's not pitching.
Holmes not pitching,
no.
That's where that gets interesting because you have Schmidt. Then the bullpen gets a little, and you used Birdie. Would you use Nick Birdie again? Probably. You sent Clayton Beeter down. There has to be something there. There has to be a reason why. Like they wanted to get him some more reps. I don't know. as a starter because he's not going to start in the big leagues anytime soon. Victor Gonzalez looked a little shaky. Loaizaga looked good. Tanner Tully, I think, tomorrow, right? Okay. They just called him up.
I think we see Loaizaga tomorrow, though.
Okay, so I'll say Loaizaga is probably your closer tomorrow.
Yes, I agree.
And Tanner Tully we see, and we're probably going to see someone else. Probably like, I would say Victor Gonzalez, they want to roll him again. So probably maybe even Nick Birdy. Because, I mean, it could be a bullpen game. Who knows? The hope is they get at least 5 out of Schmidt. And then, you see Gonzalez in the 6th, Birdy in the 8th, Loaizaga in the 9th.
Sure. I'm expecting to see Victor. I'm expecting to see Loaizaga.
Victor.
So I'm going to get
Victor in the 6th, Tully in the 7th, in my opinion. Birdy in the 8th, and then Loaizaga in the 9th.
Let's do it. That's it.
We got it all figured out, Boone. There you go.
But Boone's been doing a good job so far this year. So
I
it's
have
only
no
3 games in,
right
but I'm what am I going to wait for him to make a mistake and then talk about it? If he makes a mistake down the road, I'll talk about it, right? So he's been good.
Yeah. So you guys, appreciate you hanging out with us. Be sure to follow Gary at Gary Sheffield Jr. on all social media. You can follow me at JK Boga on all social media. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop a comment and go tell someone about our channel. If you like it, tell other people. It's how, word spreads and we grow. So we're almost at 200 subscribers, which is really cool. We'll get there soon. Appreciate you guys.
And like that video.